What is going on, everybody? In this video, I wanted to go through my preseason bold predictions for the 2024 college football season. Right before this college football season, I had 25 bold predictions that I actually thought were going to happen. So for this video, I'm going to go through every single one of them and just look at how I did and see if I got them right or wrong. We're going to start with my least bold predictions. The further we get into this video, the more bold my predictions will get. And at number 25, I said Clemson would not take the right step forward offensively and they would go 8-4 again. And I was totally wrong on this. They definitely took a step forward offensively and they actually won the ACC and won 10 football games. So obviously I was very wrong on this prediction. I think they're going to be even better next year as well, now that they are using the portal and they have a lot of return in production. But I'm giving myself 0 points for this preseason prediction. At number 24, I actually said Colorado would make a bowl game, so I got that bold prediction right, so I will give myself a point for that bold prediction. Not only did Colorado make a bowl game, but they won 9 games and made a decent bowl game. They had a pretty good season, and they took a big step forward at the line of scrimmage. It was definitely a decent season for Colorado, and I've given myself a point for getting that prediction right. Well, this one is completely laughable. I said Florida State would win the ACC again and have a top 10 scoring defense in college football. You guys can laugh at me all you want in the comments below. I'm laughing at myself. Obviously, this aged very bad. Florida State only won 2 football games. They were one of the worst teams in the country. And obviously, I get 0 points for this prediction. At number 22, I said Nebraska would win 9 games and end the long drought of missing bowl games. Now, I'm going to give myself half points for this because they did end the long drought. They actually made a bowl game, but they didn't win 9 games and they were not as good as I expected them to be. So I'm only giving myself half points for this prediction, but Nebraska will probably win 9 games next season in real life. I was absolutely spot on with this prediction at number 21. I said Boise State would go 11-1 with a loss to Oregon but make the 12-team playoffs. This is exactly what happened. They had a Heisman caliber running back at Ashton Jeanty who really elevated this team. I was spot on with this prediction. I'm giving myself a point for this prediction. Another prediction I was spot on with, here we have it at number 20. Florida makes a bowl game and Billy Napier keeps his job. Both these things happen, and I'm giving myself a point also for this prediction. I was spot on. Florida definitely took a step forward, definitely in the second half of the season. Now, in the first half of the season, it looked like this prediction was aging terribly, but they really turned the season around, and Billy Napier did keep his job, so I'm giving myself a point. At number 19, I said Kentucky would take a step down and miss a bowl game. Another prediction I was spot on with. A lot of people questioned me for predicting Kentucky to miss a bowl game, but I just did not like what this team had returning. And they didn't do an excellent job in the portal. I did not like the addition of Brock Vandagriff at quarterback. And I was spot on with this prediction. They took a step back and they did miss a bowl game. And I've given myself a point for this prediction. I was basically spot on with this prediction as well. I said North Carolina would take a step back offensively. They definitely did that. And I also said they would only win 6 games and Mac Brown would retire after this season. That's basically what happened. I know Mac Brown technically got fired, but I am going to give myself the full point for this. I feel like I did a good job on this prediction. And Mac Brown probably is not going to coach anymore, so you might as well say he did retire. And North Carolina did take a step back offensively and only win 6 games. I was spot on with this prediction, and I'm giving myself a point for this prediction. My next bold prediction was that Sam Pittman, the Arkansas head coach, would get fired, and Bobby Petrino would take over the Arkansas head coaching job after next season. This did not happen. Sam Pittman and Arkansas had an okay season, so I'm not giving myself a point for this prediction. At number 16, I said Aiden Childs would be a top 5 Big Ten quarterback, and Michigan State would win 7 games. I'm giving myself 0 points for this prediction because I don't think any of these things happen. I don't think Aiden Childs is a top 5 quarterback. He's too turnover prone. And Michigan State didn't even make a bowl game, so I get 0 points for this prediction. But I still have high hopes for this team in the future with Jonathan Smith, that head coach. And I still have high hopes for Aiden Childs. I think he's going to grow into a pretty solid quarterback in the future. At number 15, I was absolutely spot on with this prediction. I said Notre Dame would win a home playoff game. They did exactly that. They dominated Indiana. They actually went on to make the national championship game and fall short against Ohio State. but they did win a home playoff game and have a decent run in the playoffs. I'm giving myself a point for that prediction. My next prediction was that Alabama's Jalen Murrow would finish second in the Heisman voting. I know this was kind of a weird and random prediction, but for a majority of this season, it looked like Jalen Murrow had a shot at winning the Heisman Trophy. He was going off. But Alabama did fall apart, and teams were figuring out how to stop Jalen Murrow. And Jalen Murrow wasn't even a Heisman finalist or in the conversation, really. So I am getting 0 points for this prediction. My next prediction was that Ole Miss would beat Georgia in the regular season and make the SEC championship game. Ole Miss did beat Georgia, so I am going to give myself a little bit of credit. I guess I will give myself a quarter of a point for this prediction because I did predict Ole Miss to beat Georgia in the regular season, but Ole Miss really didn't come that close to making the SEC championship game. They lost 3 games in the SEC. On number 12, I said NC State would make the ACC championship game after a 10-win regular season. As some of you may know, I was really high on Dave Doeren and NC State heading into this season. I really liked what they did in the portal, adding some great playmakers and a veteran at quarterback in Grayson McCall. I thought this was going to be the year. I thought they would make the ACC championship game and win 10 games. But they didn't even come close to that. They barely made a bowl game. They were a lot worse than I expected them to be. And they lost to East Carolina out of all teams. This was another prediction I was absolutely off on, and I am giving myself 0 points for this prediction. At number 11, I said Duke quarterback Malik Murphy would be a top 5 ACC quarterback and Duke would win 7 football games. Now, Duke did win 7 football games. In fact, they won 9 football games. So I'm definitely giving myself half a point for that prediction. But I wouldn't say Malik Murphy was a top 5 ACC quarterback. There were some solid quarterbacks above them in the ACC. So I am only giving myself half a point. Malik Murphy was a good quarterback though, but he was not a top 5 quarterback. I'm giving myself half a point. My next prediction was completely off. At number 10, I said South Florida would win 9 games with losses to Miami, Alabama, and Tulane, but they would make the American Championship game and have the number 1 scoring offense in the American Conference. Maybe this prediction was too descriptive, but regardless, I did not get close on this prediction. South Florida, I don't even think they made a bowl game. Actually, let me correct myself. South Florida did play San Jose State. But South Florida was not as good as I expected them to be. I thought they were going to be a dark horse and a really good team, but they were just okay. They weren't that good. I was completely off on this prediction. I'm giving myself 0 points for this prediction. My next prediction was that only one Big 12 team and one ACC team would make the college football playoff. 2 ACC teams made the playoff, so this prediction could be completely thrown out the window. I was off on this prediction. Both SMU and Clemson made the college football playoffs. There probably would have been a scenario where this happened if SMU did beat Clemson in the ACC title, so I did come close to getting this prediction right, but it didn't happen, so I'm giving myself 0 points for this prediction. At number 8, I said Miami would win 10 football games but miss out on the ACC title game and the college football playoff. I was so spot on with this prediction. This was actually impressive. Miami went 10-2 in the regular season, and they just missed out on the ACC title and the college football playoff. Cam Ward was a very good quarterback like I expected him to be. But Miami did miss the ACC title and the college football playoff because that defense still needs work. But I'm giving myself the full point for this prediction. I was pretty spot on with this prediction. This was another very random prediction, but I said Avery Johnson, DJ Giddens, and transfer Dylan Edwards would combine for more than 2,000 rushing yards for Kansas State, and I predicted that Kansas State would win the Big 12 championship game. Now, I was correct on the backs of Giddens and Edwards and the quarterback Avery Johnson rushing for over 2,000 yards. The more I think about it, that really wasn't a wild prediction. But I also predicted Kansas State to win the Big 12 championship game. I will only give myself a quarter of a point for this prediction, because at least I did predict Avery Johnson, DJ Giddens, and Dylan Edwards to combine for more than 2,000 rushing yards. But that prediction really wasn't that impressive, so I'm only giving myself a quarter of a point. And I was completely wrong on Kansas State winning the Big 12. At number 6, I said Ollie Gordon would rush for 2,000 yards, but Oklahoma State would still miss the Big 12 title game. Now, Oklahoma State did miss the Big 12 title. They were very bad this year. But Ollie Gordon took a major step down. I really can't give myself any credit for this prediction. I know I predicted Oklahoma State to miss the Big 12 title game, But it wasn't like that was a super bold prediction. The main prediction on this bold prediction was that Ollie Gordon was going to rush for 2,000 yards, and he didn't come close to that. So I get 0 points for this prediction. My next prediction was that Iowa football would only win 7 games and take a step back. Now, they did take a step back, but they did at least win 8 games. I'm not giving myself any credit for this prediction. I was expecting them to win 7 games or less, and they were a lot better on offense than I expected them to be. So this is another prediction where I just can't give myself any credit, so I'm giving myself 0 points for this prediction because Iowa did win more than 7 football games, and they had a beast at running back in Caleb Johnson. At number 4, I said the SEC would have 6 double-digit win teams, but only 5 of those 6 teams would make the playoffs, which means a 10-2 SEC team would miss the college football playoffs. I was completely off on this prediction. The SEC did not have that many dominant teams like I was expecting them to have. It was definitely a competitive conference, but I just think the SEC was down this year. And only 3 teams from the SEC made the college football playoffs. I get 0 points for this prediction. I was completely off on this bold prediction. And what about this one? This is probably my most spot-on prediction. I can't believe I predicted this to the nail. At number 3, I said Georgia Tech would beat Florida State to open the season and win 7 games with the brutal schedule. They went 7-5 in the regular season, and that season started with them beating Florida State. So I was completely on with this prediction. I'm giving myself a full point for this prediction. I almost want to give myself bonus credit, but I'm not going to do that. I'm giving myself the full point for this prediction. Georgia Tech had a pretty great season. It was better than people expected. And they do have a bright future with their head coach, Brent Key. They've been doing a good job in the portal and definitely in recruiting as well. Watch out for Georgia Tech next year. They could probably be a ranked team in the preseason. Now, this prediction, I was pretty confident about this prediction with the way California started the season and the way they were playing against Miami in the first half. Now, number 2, I said California would upset Miami at home, and they were so close to upsetting Miami. And I also said California would have a top 4 scoring offense in the ACC and they would win 8 games. Now, with the start California had to the season beating Auburn, I thought it was possible for them to win 8 games, but they completely collapsed. Their offense was not that good. I'm giving myself 0 points for this prediction because California just was not that great on offense. And they only won 6 football games. And lastly, my boldest prediction for the 2024 college football season was completely off. I said USC would beat Michigan on the road. I will say USC did nearly upset Michigan, but it wasn't really an upset. Michigan was just bad. And I also thought USC would finish 4th in the Big Ten with an 8-4 record. USC hardly made a bowl game, and they did not come anywhere near the top of the Big Ten. So I'm giving myself 0 points for this prediction. I was completely off. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me just recapping some of my bold predictions from the start of the season. You guys let me know down in the comments below how some of your predictions fared. But let me remind you guys to like the video and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you'll love this channel because we upload a ton of college football content. And we basically cover everything on this channel, so definitely consider subscribing. And also consider checking out my socials down in the description below. But that is going to do it, guys, and peace out.